Okay, it's another beautiful but hot day outside. I'm here in the semi-shade of the garage. This just got delivered. I've been waiting for about a month now. I guess they're on a 30-day back order. But this is a new tonneau cover for the 2024 Ranger Raptor. Fingers crossed. Pop this open, see what we got, read some instructions. I got some free time this afternoon, so I'm going to try and get this thing installed. Hopefully it's not too aggravating and I can survive this heat. So here we go. Okay, so I went with the Gator EFX hard fold tonneau cover. I ordered it from Real Truck. Basically, not a lot to it. You've got the folded up tonneau cover, a couple of rails. One says, I assume RL means rail left, and RR means rail right. It comes with these clamps. I believe these go on the underside. You've got these other clamps that I'll figure out where they go. A couple of drainage. But anyway, that's about what it comes with. Again, the cover, the rails, and some of the clamps. But as I'm going through this, I'm looking at my parts list. Cover, rails, the clamps, there's those drain hoses, and it says the bulkhead seal. Well, sure enough, no bulkhead seal. It's outside of these hours, so it's going to irritate me a little bit, but I'm going to call them, see how long it takes to get this. Hopefully it's not another 30 days. I've got a road trip coming up, and I was hoping that this would help make the decision on what vehicle I take by having this tonneau cover on. So if that takes another 30 days, I'm really going to be disappointed. But what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and install everything I can up to this point. I'm going to jump to that. We'll get some stuff installed and kind of be on hold. Disappointing. Okay, so sure enough, first step is to install that bulkhead seal, which I don't have. So we'll move on to step two. Step two, it talks about removing these three bolts and or plugs in the rail here on both sides. You got three there and three here along both sides of the rails. So we'll get those disassembled. It says you won't need them again unless you plan on removing the tonneau cover. So hold on to them, but they won't be going back into the vehicle. Okay, so you just pop these out. They're just little plastic plugs that pop out. So they look like. Remove the one closest to the center. Okay, so next up it shows installing these clamps here in the three places, here, here, and then down there on the driver's side first. All right, those three are loosely installed. Now I think we put the driver's side rail on from what I read. All right, here I am 3 or 4 days later after starting this whole thing. I took everything out of the box, went to install it, and these brackets that hold those bed rails on just would not fit to save my life. So I boxed everything back up with the intent to send it back to Real Truck. Not only was I obviously missing that bulkhead seal, but the brackets would not fit in that channel, and I'll show you what I mean. These brackets right here are pretty wide, and on the door or on the bed rail from this angle you can't really see, but they sit in here supposedly like this, and they're angled in there so that they're supposed to snap in. And no matter how I pushed or pried, I was afraid I was going to break the aluminum, and I could not get those in. I thought, okay, maybe I've got the wrong size. They sent the wrong size clamps. But anyway, so to Real Truck's credit, they do have a 1-800 number for installation issues. So what I ended up doing was calling them to see maybe I got the wrong clamps or the wrong, who knows. Anyway, one of the techs I talked to said to take the end cap off of the rail. Here's the end cap. It's kind of glued in there, however that sits in there, like that. He said take that end cap off, and then once you have that off of there, this should fit in there nicely and just slide in. I don't know if I can hold this and do this at the same time. But anyway, you can see the angle of that, and then this should just sit in there and slide in. Let's see if I can get some better lighting. And just kind of slide into that groove. Well, easier said than done. Again, same issue, didn't want to slide in. I felt like I was going to break something. I finally got this one in and tapped. Kind of had to tap it down there a little bit. It's not coming into focus, but it doesn't slide back and forth real easy, but it's in there now, and I'm going to have to use a little mallet or something and kind of tap that down into place. But now that I know I can get them in those rails, I'm going to try again and see if I can redo this whole thing and get at least the rails on there, maybe the cover, while I wait for that bulkhead seal to come. So if you decide to go with this, you may have to remove, again, this end cap that's kind of glued on a little bit, and then really force those down in there. You've got 3 to force in all the way to the end, the middle, and then, of course, this end. So I'm going to get to that step, back the truck into the garage. It's another nice warm day, and we'll see about getting this installed. Back of the truck. It says remove 3, 1, 2, 3, and having tried this before last time, it doesn't matter which one. I'm going to remove the one that's closest to the center just to give it a little bit more balance, but I don't think it really matters which one because that clip slides up and down that rail and can kind of be positioned wherever you want. So that first step is going to be remove those plugs, and then we'll work on the rail. Okay, you've got these clips here, kind of an L bracket clip. This goes in that channel on the rail, and then this bolts through the holes that we just removed the plugs out of. So first step is you're going to want to remove these bolts because you can't get these through. They don't just clamp on. So I'm going to remove 3 of these. So I have 3 ready to go, and see if I can slide them up that rail. Okay, so here's that rail. This is the one that goes on the driver's side, and you know that because it's got this drain plug right here, this drain hose connection on the towards the bed of the truck, or towards the cab of the truck. And what they were talking about is this end plug right here, this plastic piece that covers the end. And this is kind of, you can kind of pry it off of there. It's glued in there a little bit, but you can work at it a little bit and get it to pry out of there. Okay, so I've got the plug now out of there. So that's the angle that it'll sit on the rail, or the truck rail. The rail goes right here. This is where they're saying that they want this to angle in and slide in, is right here. And you can see that doesn't just slide in there easy. It doesn't snap in. I mean, it is a really tight fit. So you really kind of have to work at it, kind of bend this down a little bit as you do it and get that in there. And once it's in there, it slides, but with a hammer, a little bit of a force. But you can see that does not want to just snap in there. It doesn't have, I'm worried it'll break that edge if you really try and force it. It doesn't twist in, so you may have to remove that end cap and jam it in there. So I'm going to get 3 jammed in there, get them kind of measured out so they're kind of in the same spots as those holes, and I'll work to that point now. Okay, one thing I'd suggest is you're banging these down that rail. They slide not easy at all. I'm using a piece of wood and a mallet to slide that down. But one thing I would suggest is marking the approximate locations of where your holes, your corresponding holes are in the bed. So when you get close and you get this thing into place, you know where basically to stop, because once you get there, it's these things are solid. They don't move back and forth. That is in there. It's actually, as I'm hitting them in, it's takes off the powder coating off these brackets. Just make sure you put this on something soft. In this case, I'm using the cardboard. I'm just using a piece of wood and just tapping that down as I go. Tapping that down as I go to get that into place. My mark is right here, so this will be number 2. I've got the front one here, this will be the middle one here, and then the other one goes right here. All right, there's the 3. You can see I'm a little off the mark there, but 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna put the bolts through and see if those line up correctly. All right, this should now just sit up here like this. It actually sits in there really nice. There's a little groove right here in the truck bed, and this rail, it's got a little bit of foam or something on the side, on the edge here, but it actually sits in there real nice. Now, rather than snugging it all the way up against the front of the bed, I'd pull it off maybe a 1/4 inch or so you have a little bit of room if you're going to attach those drain hoses. Otherwise, if it's up against that drain hose, you won't be able to squeeze that in. But now that I've got these kind of lined up with the holes, I'll do some fine tapping and tuning. I'm going to get the middle one in first, and then I'll just hand tighten to that point. All right, so this takes, I think, a Torx 30. So I need to get that Torx bit out, but that sits on there now. It's not pulling in. It looks flush and flat. So that was the ticket. Get those things tapped down in there. Before I get too far, I'm going to put that end cap, that plastic end cap back on, and then I'll get the rest of those screwed in. Put some good even pressure on the top to keep that flush, and then just tighten them up a little bit. It looks like it's holding it flush. It's not pulling and wrapping it and trying to pull it into the bed. So we'll mirror the other side, get the other side done, get to that point. There you go, those 3 are in. Let's get them installed in the truck. Just hand tighten it. Just tighten those down. Okay, those are installed now. I got those end caps installed back. Shoved them back in. That rail's on there. It's solid on there too. You can see right down that rail how it sits, and it's pretty flush. This is where that the cover's going to ride in, and it's solid on there. I can't roll it in or out. Both sides look good. Again, there's that end cap installed. Looks good from the top all the way down. And if you can see, I would lift a little bit of a gap between the hose and the back of the truck bed in the cab, just right there, so I can slide those hoses in there. Not much of a gap down in there, but I'm going to see if I can get those in before I start putting the cover on, because I don't want to climb under here with it as warm as it is. That gap in that bed is too small to get those in there. You can see that gap a little bit that I left, so I can get that in there. Okay, what I tried here, you can see a little bit of daylight through there for that hose, but to be honest with you, it's going to crimp it off so much that any water debris is going to just kind of get trapped in there anyway. So I decided I'm going to take off this step-up bit, and I'm just going to drill a small little hole in this punch-out right here and just put it out through there. Okay, next step, this is the cover. You've got these retention clamps here, and you need to loosen these up and set them in these channels right here, so then they can clamp into the rail that you just installed, or that I just installed. So this side goes on the rail side of the truck, that's inside the bed side. But you just slide in here kind of like that, and then I'll just lift that in. This panel with these clamps is going to be the panel that's closest to the cab of the truck. All right, hopefully it's not too dark and you can see this, but now you want to take these clamps that are in these rails and just kind of clamp them into space right there. Just kind of loosely get them sitting in there so you can still make some adjustments when you open this up. So there's that one. Try it like this, a little easier. There's this other side here. You can see it just kind of clamps on that rail. Again, just get it loosely. You can see a little bit of light there because I don't have that gasket. As soon as that gasket comes, these look like they'd be pretty easy just to loosen that up, pop that off, install that gasket, and then that should be a nice tight seal against that head of the truck bed. Get this other side. All right, those are on there, just kind of loose. And now get it adjusted a little bit. Okay, we're on top here. Just kind of fold this back. Looks like it covers nicely. Fold that back. It looks like that's where it locks in, snaps in on both sides. Little gap, oh, there we go. Drops in. I don't know if that's, you can see a little bit of a gap there. And that might be either me or this needs to settle down a little bit. I don't know if it's hitting on anything underneath here. maybe the straps. I don't know, make a little bit of adjustment here. There we go. That was me. I just needed to get that adjusted a little bit. Now it's snapped in. You can see that's pretty flat along there. Up front. Looks good there. Looks parallel down that line. Everything's snapped in here. A little off maybe on this line side. Now it looks parallel down that line. So this looks good. Yeah, that seals up. Okay, that looks like it works. Looks like it's all in place. Open it, either side, pull on these cables, releases the latch, fold it over, same thing. For the next one, fold it over, and there you have it. When you want to stick something in the back and you want to drive with it, just clip those in. And you're good to go. So I'm going to tighten those back clamps back in there, tighten those down, and call it good until that gasket shows up. All right, there you go. All done, installed, tightened down, looks good, solid. The Real Truck Gator EFX for the Raptor Ranger. Thanks for watching.